It's January the 1st. The transfer window is open, so welcome back to Football Spy Online. Now, for the next 4 or so weeks, I'll be here with John and Martin taking you through all the big moves during the January transfer window. The Premiership big guns, they normally don't tend to get involved during the winter market, leaving it instead to the bottom clubs to snap up the bargains they think will keep them up. This time around, however, Manchester United, Chelsea, Liverpool and maybe even Arsenal are expected to weigh in. So here is our guide to just some of the big names that we think will be moving clubs this January. First up is Dimitar Berbatov, who appears to have his bags packed already for a move away from Spurs. They say they won't sell, but United want him, and should they get him, they'll have some formidable firepower with which to go into the second half of the season. Next up is Nicolas Anelka. Chelsea look to grab the consolation prize in the form of the French striker, but it has to be pointed out that he's scored the same amount of goals as Berbatov, 11, and should Chelsea get him, they'll welcome him with open arms. Next up is Peter Crouch. Surely the big Liverpool striker has to move if he wants to get some regular first-team football. He's had more than a few indications that Rafa Benitez doesn't have him in his first-team plans. And, again, Man City are interested, along with Newcastle and Portsmouth. Next we have Darren Bent. He could actually play far more regularly at Spurs should Berbatov go to United. But we understand he's interested in a move to West Ham. Could that happen? Everton's James McFadden. He's been a hero for Scotland, but he just cannot get into the Goodison Park team. Celtic want him, as do Rangers. Could he go this month? Jens Lehmann will. He's been holding Arsene Wenger to ransom at Arsenal for months over his first team place, but Wenger, he hasn't backed down, which means Lehmann's up for grabs, and that Jussi Jääskeläinen from Bolton could replace him. Sven could do with Lehmann's experience at City, but Borussia Dortmund are also interested. And the smart money's on a move back to Germany for the 38-year-old keeper. Now, you've been having your say ahead of the transfer window opening. Basel in London thinks Arsenal should sign another centre-half as Philippe Senderos isn't good enough to cover for Gallas or Torre. Alex in Macclesfield believes Manchester United must get a central striker in so that Sir Alex has cover for Rooney and Tevez. And Justin in Haywards Heath, he's clearly a Portsmouth fan and he wants Harry to do whatever it takes to get Defoe from Spurs. Mark in Doncaster, he's a Liverpool fan. He says that Rafa already has too much choice and should get on with winning the league with the players he already has, instead of dipping into the market for any more. Don't forget you can add your comments. Just go to the Mirror's website and you can join the forum for the debate. Now, during Football Spy last summer, I gave you my picks on the hits and misses of the July and August spending spree. 4 months on, and it's time to see just who was and who wasn't value for money during the first half of the season. First up, we didn't fancy Michael Chopra at £5 million, and he didn't exactly make us eat our words. He had only ever scored just 1 goal in the Premiership before being snapped up by Sunderland. But in the 5 months since then, he's scored just 3 more. Rocky Santa Cruz, however, he was a fancy of ours, and he scored nearly 4 times as many goals as Chopra, despite moving to Blackburn for far more than £1 million less than Chopra cost. Mido's £6.8 million switch to Borough from Spurs raised more than a few eyebrows in the Football Spy office, and it was no surprise to see him score just twice in 8 games before limping off injured into the sidelines in October. He hasn't been seen since. Great value for money. Diamansi Camara, he may have bagged 23 goals for West Brom last season in the Championship, but he scored just 1 in the Premier League the season before that. Lawrie Sanchez, however, paid £6 million for him. Perhaps it's no surprise that Sanchez is not at Fulham anymore. And finally, Kurtis Davis. He may have scored against Wigan at the weekend, but he's some way to go before he can justify the £10 million deal that Villa agreed with West Brom for him, subject to a successful loan deal. You may remember Davis referred to himself as a pub player after Villa's defeat in the League Cup to Leicester. Now it's a busy couple of days for football, of course. Today sees Arsenal take on West Ham, Spurs go to Villa, and Manchester United host Bolton in what should be a cracker. Elsewhere, there's Borough against Everton, Reading face Portsmouth, while the West London derby sees Roy Hodgson facing a baptism of fire with Fulham taking on Chelsea tomorrow. Sunderland go to Blackburn, Bolton face Derby, Liverpool take on Wigan, and Manchester City, they face beleaguered Newcastle. I'm off to put some Chelsea players into my fantasy league team ahead of their trip to Fulham. But we're back tomorrow with all the latest transfer news. For now, enjoy your football and a very happy new year to you.